Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the BroadBoys podcast. I'm Cade. This is Micah.
Yo.
We're having a grand old time. We live in the Midwest, and the weather's going back and forth like crazy. Thankfully, Micah made it through here in a snowstorm.
I did.
So, because we had very important stuff to talk about.
We do.
Like Monster Hunter Wilds. For me,
Yes.
it's Wilds Week. It's Wilds Week. I'm just going to jump straight into it. It's Monster Hunter Wilds Week. If you haven't heard, it broke 1.3 million concurrent players just on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of console players, right? It does have mixed reviews, and we'll talk about it. But I think it's a great game. I think it's Game of the Year potential. I still think it's Game of the Year potential.
Yep.
And we can talk about that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's got 8 million copies sold in 3 days, which is crazy.
Fastest selling Capcom game of all time.
Yep.
World was the one before that.
Yep.
So Monster Hunter is just really bringing it in for Capcom right now. I'm wearing, for the audio listeners, I'm wearing a Monster Hunter shirt of Gore Magala, which, fancy words. But this monster is in Wilds, actually. I do really like Gore Magala. So I'm very happy he's in the game. But it's been a ton of fun. I've been trying to pace myself. And so I only have 30 hours as of the game being out like 4 or 5 days ago or however long. I've had to stop myself from playing multiple times and play Baldur's Gate instead because I enjoy playing it with friends and I don't want to instantly max out the game before, have some experiences with the people I love and enjoy almost as much as the monsters. But
I do have some questions for you about the game.
Let's hear it.
So I had the opportunity to play it. I only played about an hour, and then I watched a friend play it for a little bit as well.
Okay.
So my thoughts.
Yes.
It's really fluid.
Yes.
Much more fluid than World.
Yes.
I think it's definitely, you could have just called it Monster Hunter World 2, and I would have also been like, yeah, it totally is.
Okay.
I think the wound system is really cool. It's a lot of fun. Being able to cancel your attack is really cool. That all just adds to like the fluidity.
Yes.
Where was I going with this? Oh, do you feel like the game is too easy?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But, so the difficulty. So the two major negatives with the game that people will talk about, and if you're new to Monster Hunter, these aren't negatives for you because you have no idea. Well, the performance issues can be.
Yeah.
But the difficulty is not going to matter to you if you've never played Monster Hunter before, and if you're hearing that and you're like, oh, I don't know if I should buy it. People are saying it's too easy. Don't worry about it. Like if you think about it, Monster Hunter World, the game that came out in 2018, 1/3 of all console players, at least, dropped the game before killing the big fire T-Rex Anjanath, which
crazy.
is like less than halfway through the game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The difficulty. So Capcom loves listening to their fans. So, and they really, and I genuinely mean that. And when it comes to Monster Hunter, so how do we know this? So a lot of complaints that people had about base game World, they fixed in title updates and in the expansions. People were hyped about a certain monster because there was like a banner for an anniversary and it showed Fatalis, which is like the final boss monster ever since the first game came out. And people were really excited for it. And then they were making Iceborne, which was the expansion of the world. And like, man, people are really excited for this monster. We were going to have this other monster be the last one, but we're going to add this one as like a fun little final thing. And then did that with Rise as well. So I think with Wilds, we've seen them kind of listen to people a bit too much. An example was they took out all the hit stop. In the beta, they fixed it again when people complained. But when the beta first came out, hit stop was a big thing. It's like, oh, our attacks don't feel chunky. They don't feel meaty. I feel like I'm just flinging around a wet noodle on this guy. So they're like, all right, we're going to bump up the hit stop. And they were surprised because they heard people complain about the hit stop in World from Western audiences. And they're really paying attention to Western audiences. So because it blew, like, Capcom, Monster Hunter World was Capcom's biggest game when it came out. And so they're really like, wow, we got this new Western audience into Monster Hunter. What do they want? They want, like, fluidity. They didn't like, how chunky some of the going in between missions was. So they fixed that, but they left some things in that confuses me. But, whatever. So they're trying to make it really immersive and fluid, and they did make it easier. I think that's not an issue. I'll get more into it, but I think the story is kind of like when you beat the story, it's halfway through the game.
Yeah.
So the credits roll, and then you go from low rank to high rank. And then high rank is like the tougher challenges. You can start grinding for certain sets, but there is still a story going on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a high rank final boss. But these are like you get your fights that will make you fail missions. Like as someone who's played Monster Hunter before, I didn't fail a single mission through the story mode. But it was super fast. Like it feels like they're like, hey, if you're new, this is like a great way to learn. Like you feel really good fighting all these monsters. If you're a veteran, it's gonna be super fast and it'll be over with.
Yep.
And so you can get into the parts you want right away.
Mm-hmm.
So I see it as an absolute win because we got 8 million copies sold, and because that's easier, a lot more people are going to be retained.
That's true.
So, and then as the title updates come out and as the expansion comes out, more people will be willing to invest in that as well. So when you buy a Monster Hunter game, it's easy right now, but title updates are coming out.
Yeah.
Right? When you buy a Monster Hunter game, and it's always been this way, even since the PS2 version, the base game that comes out is your foundation, and then they add on to it over time. So with Monster Hunter World, they did free title updates. So when you buy Monster Hunter World, you didn't just buy the base game. You were getting the product that they were investing 18 months of development into with various title updates, bringing new monsters, harder challenges, new features sometimes. And so you're a part of that, as now I get the complainers like, oh, I want all this stuff right now. I'm paying like $70 for this game. I should get it right now. Like, that's fine. I still think the base game is worth $70. I think that's completely fair.
Okay.
But you're getting all these title updates, and then with that are all free,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's going to be an expansion probably a year and a half down the line, which will be less than $70.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah, if history repeats itself.
Mm-hmm.
But even like with the PS2 version, there was Monster Hunter and the Monster Hunter G, and then there was Monster Hunter Freedom, which was the portable ultimate version that includes Master Rank and all that. So they've done that for all of Monster Hunter history. So it's just something to understand going into it. It's like, and if you don't understand that, I feel like you're not going to care with the base product you have to begin with. Okay. So that's my opinion.
Okay. So you glazed it enough.
Okay. I did not glaze it enough.
What are the bad things? There are some. You must have some negatives.
I don't know.
Have you experienced any performance issues?
No. So actually,
it runs great for you.
So it runs great for me. I'm using a 30 series GPU. I'm not using a high-end CPU, and like I got it on high settings. It's not ultra.
Yeah.
And it's running fine for me. I haven't had any experience with crashing, though. I do know people who have experienced that, and like that's like, I agree, it's not okay.
Is it frequent for those people?
It depends. It's hit or miss sometimes, depending on the person.
Because I was reading some of the reviews, and there are people talking about they have like high end stuff, and especially like people running on like the new 50 series graphics cards or the new is it Radeon, whatever the new AMD cards are. People are like, all the new stuff, it's just like crashing on.
Yeah, I don't know why they made it a big point to be like, oh, there's also going to be frame generation with the new GeForce series. You know, and I'm like, that is so new, and you're marketing it so much so, and it's broken. Like, it is just broken.
Yo, absolutely. It 100% is broken, which, two sides of that coin, you don't need it on the new cards because the new cards should just run it. But hey, to each their own. If you want to run at 600 frames, be my guest. You won't tell the difference. Yeah.
I mean, with that stuff, like, I understand the complaint, especially when it stops you from experiencing the game. Like, that's 100%. Like, it's crazy that that games still launch. Even good games like Monster Hunter Wilds, like, they do launch with those performance issues. And I'm not trying to normalize that and be like, yeah, it's just how it is. It shouldn't be that way. They are working on patches, and they've addressed that. And
I'm sure the ratings will go right back up to very positive, if not overwhelmingly, as soon as those issues are fixed.
Yeah.
So
I mean, all the new people I've been seeing play, like people who have never played Monster Hunter before, are loving it. All the veterans are loving it. They're waiting for the title update so that way they can get a bit more challenge. But again, the Capcom listening to them, when the reviews came out, IGN gave it an 8 out of 10, which was lower than Dragon Age Veilguard.
That is wild. That is
wild to me.
Veilguard was such a bad game. Don't get me wrong.
But that's just a minor note. Pisses me off a little bit, but whatever.
I don't blame you.
It's whatever. Performance issues and the difficulty is, I guess, enough to make it an 8, which for some people, that's how you feel away. To me, it's still a 10 out of 10. Yeah. Like a 10 out of 10 experience so far. I have to actively stop myself from playing it basically the whole week. Basically the whole week. So with them addressing like difficulty there, hey, title update 1, it's gonna have this new monster. It's gonna have a gathering hub, which is a feature that or like players were like, man, I wish they had a gathering hub.
Yeah.
They're adding it to the title update 1, and they specifically mentioned there's going to be 2 new monsters that are really hard, and we're adding a new level of monster that's above tempered, which is like the highest level monster. So they specifically addressed like, hey, we heard you. We hear you say it's too easy. So don't worry. Harder stuff is coming. You can take this month to prepare, and then early April it's coming out.
Nice.
So, and then title updates will be coming like every like month and a half, 2 months ish until probably for about a year and a half, and then they're gonna announce the expansion, whatever it is, and then they're gonna play to that until it releases. So this is Monster Hunter Cycle. Welcome if you're brand new. You know, I can see an argument for not enjoying it, but I think like being a part of like, oh, what monsters are they going to bring back?
Yeah.
Or like, man, they added this. That's so cool. Or like even it gives you a reason to come back and keep playing the game on like your maxed out accounts, which I really love. So like I did that with Horizon. I did some of that with World. I didn't do as much with the title updates, but when the expansion came out, and all that. So I don't know. I just love Monster Hunter. So I know we were talking about negatives and then I ended up glazing it again.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, I mean, people are saying like, this isn't just me. Like the world is super immersive.
Yeah, I mean, from
It's
everything I saw, there's not many true like game design negatives.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, honestly, for them, I think it's a huge win for Capcom. Up until recently, people wouldn't even have considered Capcom to be AAA.
Well, I mean, before really pre-World, pre-Monster Hunter World, it was like they didn't really have any games that like were quote unquote mainstream.
Yep, definitely a AA studio.
So, and now it's like Capcom's like having their own directs in addition to like, you know, the big 3.
Yeah, Capcom is up there. I would say it's in top 10 gaming companies right now.
Yeah.
If not top 5.
And by what metrics do you mean? Like quality of products?
Yeah, well, quality and then general just like perceived top publishers.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I would, you know, obviously Microsoft and Sony are up there, but I would not consider their games recently to be of that quality.
Yeah. Because I'm like the only game that Capcom's made, that Capcom Studios made, the Capcom also publishes sometimes, and so I can't speak to those games. But the only game that Capcom's made in recent memory that didn't like do really well was Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yep.
And that was a similar deal where it also had performance issues. But then there was also like
was that
some other issues.
Was that made by Capcom? Or
yes, that's a Capcom Studio game.
Interesting, because I kind of trashed on that game.
No,
I
that's
didn't
fine.
realize it was a Capcom.
No, I mean, it kind of deserved to be.
It was
trashed.
There's
a
pretty
lot
mid.
Mid was definitely the word people used for it.
Yep.
The original Dragon's Dogma was like a huge deal.
Yeah, it was really good. I played the original Dragon's Dogma a little bit.
Yeah.
But.
So, but really, that's like the only flop that they've had. Now, another negative, if you want to talk about, is they've had the same microtransaction strategy since they did their like MMO for Monster Hunter. But they did this with Dragon's Dogma 2, and they do this with most of their games nowadays, is it launches with microtransactions. And so people get upset about that.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, I understand. I'm not going to argue against that.
Yeah.
But for me personally, it doesn't take away the experience because I don't need gestures. I don't need to, like, get emote packs or stuff like that. It's all cosmetic.
Yeah, which I will say I do appreciate solely cosmetic packs. You know, as long as it's not pay to win in any aspect, then I've got no problem with it.
And they do event quests too. So like literally a week after the game comes out, they're doing an event quest where you can get armor pieces. They're like layered armor, so it's just cosmetic. But most of their event stuff is cosmetic.
Yeah, so as long as you can still get a set that you like and looks good, then I mean, there's no reason to worry about it, right?
Yeah. No, it's completely fine. So right now the end game's kind of bare bones. That's another negative I would say, but that's because it's the base game and it's always been that way.
Yeah.
And I expected that.
Yeah, they're gonna flesh it out. They release things in a way that make people want to stay playing the game. I get it, especially if you have microtransactions.
And none of the title updates have like pay to win microtransactions.
Yep.
They release cosmetic packs in addition to the
Yep.
title updates. But in terms of gameplay, you're not locked out of any quests from microtransactions. At least not yet. You know, they could always change.
Yeah, Monster Hunter's always been that sort of like hybrid live service title.
Yeah.
Which is interesting and cool because like even when we were playing Worlds, they still have events and stuff that go on, and so you know, live service in that sense. But you do get a full package and a full game when you buy it, regardless of that stuff. So
yeah, because I mean, and I think the reason why they go so hard on that is that Monster Hunter is meant to be like a multiplayer game, and it's always meant like from the first game, it was always meant, hey, you're gonna group up with some friends and you're gonna hunt some monsters together.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they want to keep it where the community they value the community a lot more in that game versus a Resident Evil game, you know.
Well, it was literally in the story. You know, you're supposed to go with other hunters.
Yeah. So I think it's cool. There's a new story. Well, they're going into the story much more than previous Monster Hunter games.
Is it good? Are there skippable cutscenes?
Yeah, you can skip You can skip all the cutscenes. You can skip through all the dialogue. There are like kind of trailing sections where you're on your bird and people are talking, and that's the only thing you can't skip.
Okay,
but I don't think it's like
that's
a big detriment.
Yeah.
To it. Though I haven't played through it trying to skip through everything, so maybe it's worse than I think. But
that's fair.
From what I heard, no one had any complaints about it.
Sweet.
I had some friends who I don't care about the story, which is fine because it's not about the story.
Yep.
I thought the story was, I mean, best story a Monster Hunter game has had. The hunter is like Giga Chad and like ores everyone like all the time, so that's really funny.
Yeah.
The final boss of the game is like it's probably my favorite final boss monster.
Nice.
And the cutscene right before it is really good too. All the characters, like there's no annoying character. Like the handler in World annoyed me.
Oh,
so,
yes.
I mean, technically the child character Nata is annoying to some people, but I didn't find him annoying. And they have a twist in the story that I like. Here, we'll do a quick little spoilers for Wilds here. So a big part of the story is that there are bioengineered monsters in this one, which that's never been a part of the story.
Okay.
But it's like, hey, this ancient civilization went to ruin because they bioengineered a monster too powerful and it killed them all. I like that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the bioengineering things was actually interesting because you fight some of them. And they're different in certain ways. So
cool.
I thought that was cool. I thought that was cool. I know some people aren't going to like that because it's super like, that sounds very sci-fi, and it's like a grounded fantasy, quote unquote series,
quote unquote. Yeah.
So some people don't like it.
Keep your sci-fi out of my fantasy.
Exactly. So you know, we'll see how it shapes up to be. But for me, I think this is like a game of the year contender for sure. It might be my game of the year. It's early, but it's probably going to be up there for sure.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, mine's still Kingdom Come, but
yeah.
You know,
And you've been playing some of that.
I've been playing a lot of that. I'm doing the thing. There is an achievement for doing 95% of all quests.
Okay.
So I've been doing every
not 100%.
No, because there are a lot that you can miss because it's one or the other.
Okay.
And so they know that you can't actually 100% all the quests in the game. I'm sure someone's gonna find a way.
Yeah.
But the achievements for 95, so you can miss like I don't remember how many they said, but I'm going through it, and it is amazing just how many. So there's quests that can be given to you that aren't actual like side quests. They're just someone asking for some, and they might pay you out for it later, which is really cool that those are just scattered around. Then there's like actual side quests that have like trackers and stuff.
Okay.
But you can do a side quest, and then literally like 6 or 7 quests later you go back to talk to the guy for something else, and the outcome of that quest is based on what you did for the guy before. But you could have gone and done that other quest first, and that's when you get introduced to this guy, and then he'll just do it no problem, right? So there's a whole lot of these like, oh hey moments depending on the order that you did the quest in. It really feels interconnected. Like
Okay.
everything, like I found a fighting arena and I fought everyone there. And then I went somewhere else where a guy's training a bunch of his dudes to go fight in the fighting arena, and then you win, and he's like, well, you really should have come to me first. I would have put a bet on you, you know? And it's like, hey, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know?
That's interesting.
Yeah, small things like that where everything seems to like be interconnected. You know, if you commit a crime in one town, people might comment on the crime in a different town, which is kind of cool.
So the immersion's really good.
Oh, it's really good.
Yeah, I'd say the same for Wilds. Wilds immersion is really good as well.
Yeah.
So that's cool. 2 really immersive games.
I know.
Man, and I mean, we're just getting started with the year. We've talked about it before, but like it's going to be a crazy year.
I think, was it officially announced? I think GTA 6 has been officially pushed to 2026.
Really?
I think so. I could be wrong. That might have just been more of an internal memo than an official announcement.
Yeah,
but
I didn't hear that yet. I feel like that'd be all over the place. People have been making bets forever.
I can't remember where I've seen it. It might not have been an official announcement.
I'm happy with this news. This means that a game I like will get Game of the Year.
That's probably true. Yeah, so many wild like GTA 6 rumors floating around right now.
Yeah, and I'm just like, man, no matter when it comes out, it's probably just gonna get Game of the Year because it's GTA 6, unless we got a Cyberpunk situation.
This was a part of an official announcement. They are releasing GTA 6 with its own game engine.
Okay.
So they're trying to do the Roblox thing where you can create your own heists, your own missions, your own game modes, everything in it, which they sort of had with GTA Online.
Yeah.
But they're trying to do it in the Roblox fashion where you can just jump into other people's like game worlds and stuff, which kind of cool.
I mean,
they're
like GTA Online content is like still going.
Oh, absolutely.
So
it is still going.
I think that's a good investment.
Yeah, they just released an update for next gen graphics again, just for free
for GTA 5.
Which good on them, good on Rockstar. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I've bought every upgraded version of Skyrim that's come out, but good on them for not making you pay for it.
I mean, but would you buy another copy of GTA 5?
I don't know that I'd buy another copy of GTA 5, but if they told me like, hey, you can have next gen graphics for GTA 5 online, you just got to pay like the extra $20 and get the new copy.
You weren't gonna play it though.
Well, not now, but if I was still someone who played GTA 5 online, I completely understand why they would do it that way.
No, I get it. It. Okay. Yeah, interesting games.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy to me. We're getting a lot of games this year that I feel like are not supposed to be mainstream, but are becoming more mainstream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Monster Hunter selling 8 million copies. The amount of I don't want to isolate them, but I'll call them normies. You know, they're just like we're talking about like Valorant, FIFA players are picking on Monster Hunter Wilds.
Yeah, the FIFA players out there. Yeah,
which it's crazy to me. I've seen some even pick up Kingdom Come Deliverance too, and I don't know if it's because there's a lack of like
good
shooters going on.
There could be.
I mean, Black Ops 6 is still doing decent.
Oh, Black Ops 6 is still, if I'm not mistaken, top going 30 strong on Steam still, which is phenomenal for a Black Ops game.
I know.
Let alone all the console players who only play COD.
Yeah.
Like it is sticking around and probably will stick around for, I'm going to guess, 3 or 4 years.
I know, which is crazy for a Call of Duty game nowadays. So good for them.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're getting all these people who don't really branch out, trying out different games.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like, there was this topic in a video I saw. I think it was Donkey who made this video about like gamer cred.
Yeah.
So, you might notice that if you just play FIFA or Valorant or Call of Duty, you're going to have no idea what we're talking about on this podcast.
Yeah.
You might know more things than that, and you still have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Probably very likely. But
no, absolutely. It's this sort of like more people are playing video games than ever, but the majority of people playing video games are playing these, I guess, normie games.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the best way to kind of, say that group, because I don't want to say like they're not valid games. Like there's a lot of people that just play Rocket League.
How about,
there's a lot of people that
copy paste games maybe?
No,
I don't know, because like FIFA's the same every single year. They just change the name. Same with Madden, same with NBA 2K.
I mean, but like Valorant, like there are people that just play Valorant that,
that's fair.
That like don't know anything about video games.
Multiplayer shooters are its own genre. That's just like, this is a normie genre as well. Like, I like Overwatch, don't get me wrong, but if someone just said, my favorite game's Overwatch 2, I'm going to be like, I don't know that you're a real gamer.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know about favorite games. If that's the only game
especially if like you said your favorite game was Overwatch in like 2016, I'd have been like, okay, cool.
Yeah. I don't know about that comparison at this point, because I feel like 2016, it was like getting there. Like, but really, it was Fortnite. I think
Fortnite
Fortnite
too,
brought like if I ask someone, I'm like, hey, what games do you play? And then like I play 2K and I play Fortnite.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not dissing them. I'm like, but you're not in my category.
You're
if that
not.
makes sense.
Well, you're not.
You're not in my category.
That's fair. Yeah. The gamer cred.
Gamer cred. Like that's great. You love those games. That's completely fine.
Like you have some gamer cred. You just don't have a lot of gamer
But I'm
cred.
not going to talk to you about how I've been playing Donkey Kong Country 2. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, now it's very easy to give elitist when talking about this, but I think it is like a real thing that we live out. Like, a FIFA player, I'm not going to engage with the FIFA player the same way I'm going to engage with someone who knows who like Mario Sports Mix is or plays a Final Fantasy games or something like that. Like that's like a different group of people. I think we can just be very clear on that. That's a different group of people.
Yeah. Like if someone asks me what game I'm playing, and if I go, I've been playing Anno 1800, you know, they're going to be like, what?
And most of the time we just won't answer with those games.
Yeah,
because it's like we know the audience is like, we know that's not going to cause any connection. So we got to go like, oh, I'm playing like this this game where Monster Hunter is pretty easy to explain, but it's like, is this game called Monster Hunter? You hunt monsters. But if it's Kingdom Come Deliverance, you're like, oh, I'm playing this fantasy game where I'm a knight. And I do fantasy things. Or
exactly.
Historical.
Historical.
I'm a
drama.
knight. I'm playing a knight game.
Or I just say I play League of Legends because everyone knows what League is.
Yeah. So. Well, there's a lot of this is how mainstream it's getting. There's millions of people who are playing games that don't even know what League is.
You know what's crazy? So this
in
is
the
completely
West,
different.
in the West,
I was talking to someone I know, and we were talking about Arcane, right? They knew about Arcane, but they had no idea it was based on a game.
Yeah, dude, that's probably like a third of people watching Arcane.
Would be crazy, yeah.
I mean, it topped Netflix charts for like I don't even know how long, and so you get so many people just watching it, that have no idea that's League of Legends. So, like, that's the deal. Like, someone who knows what League of Legends is, like, I'm like, all right, what layers in this gamer onion have you been through? You know, so because you go to the top, there's like, oh, I've like played Fortnite, or like I've played like Call of Duty or Rocket League or FIFA, any of the sports games really. And then you go a bit deeper, I'd probably say Minecraft. You know, Minecraft is like there are many people who would just play Minecraft. And again, that's completely fine. And again, I'm not saying this to be like, oh, these people are less than me. I'm just saying we're in different categories.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're in different categories. You go a bit deeper than Minecraft, I'd say something like, I don't know, like Pokemon / Halo, not Halo.
Well, Halo 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Like Pokemon original Halo, or even like God of War. Like, I think God of War is around that area. Yeah. You go a bit deeper than that, I think you're getting a bit more like popular games, like Skyrim, I think fits well a bit past that. Like any of those action RPGs, I'd say even I think Assassin's Creed belongs here. And Assassin's Creed fans, I'm not exactly like, I'm not in their category, I'll say. It's because there are some people who just play Assassin's Creed, or like that's their big game. And I'm like, that's cool. But I think that's a bit deeper than like Pokemon.
That could be.
I think so.
Well, Assassin's Creed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So where do you draw the line?
Origins is where I draw it.
Okay, yeah, so New Age Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Is pretty dumb.
You know, and actually, let's put a new layer on the outside that's like, oh, I played Jackbox at the office once, or I played like Mario Kart with my nephew once.
That's like really outside layer.
And then like, and they're further and further and further. Like because I've been doing this achievement of the week and month deal, which I believe I've talked about, but I'm playing like some of the most crazy, like off the wall. I never even heard of this game before games. And I feel like I'm close to the center of the onion. I'm trying to learn much about random crap when it comes to games as much as possible. And today I played Sugoi Arcane Heart 2 for the PS2.
Nice.
A Japanese exclusive anime fighter game.
Nice. Was it good?
I don't know. It's a fighting game, which I'm like, I've played a lot of fighting games and I'm good at a lot, but it's like crazy and it's all in Japanese, so I have no idea what anyone's saying or any of the mechanics. I cheese my way to get the achievement, but you know, it's like it's very over the top character designs, and you know what I'm talking about when we're talking about anime fighters. Yeah. Like, but like the music kind of slapped. Yeah. So you know that's a pro with some of these games. But it was interesting, and I would never learn about it. Actually, some of the characters were like crazy, and like I kind of wish these designs were taken for other things. So, for example, there's this character, I don't know her name. I think it was Kira, but she's this Japanese schoolgirl who's wearing like one of the one-piece swimsuits, right? But you only her lower half is inside of a giant slime. And so the character is her and the slime. Okay. And she's like 3 times the size of other characters, and she's a grappler. So like she'll grab you and then suplex you back and well, it's not her, it's the slime. The slime gets like big buff arms and like grabs you and suplexes you, and like it turns rock hard for her shield. And I'm just like, what is this game? Like you got that combined with like super old like you know nun characters combined with like characters that look like they're 5 years old that are like angels, and it's like this is insanely Japanese. Yep. It was crazy, but it was interesting. It was fun to play 30 minutes of it to get my achievement of the week. But it's like that's a game that's not even in the Onion. That's like you got to get a microscope out because like at least for a Western audience, because you're like, what the heck is that? Like just absurd random games. And if I meet someone who knows about Arcane Heart 2, I'm outmatched. Like, I'm sorry. Like, there's kind of like this this measuring contest. You know, I don't know if you've ever had this interaction where it's like you're trying to suss out like how much they actually know. How deep in the onion are they? Like for real? Yep. And it's like what games you're playing? Oh, you know, I'm playing like, you know, what games do you play? Oh, like I've played some Valorant. I'm playing Overwatch right now, which they probably won't even know Overwatch right now. I would say. But like, oh, I play like Rocket League and all that, and they're like, oh yeah, that's cool. I'm playing like Pokemon Black and White, and well, it's a Pokemon game. It's like, no, I've played Black and White. No, I've also been playing like Donkey Kong Country 2. I've been trying to 100% that one. Oh, you're 100%ing that? Oh yeah, the Lost World. Yeah, I know that. So you play like you ever play like Dragon Quest 5? We talking PS2 version or we talking Super Nintendo? You know, you just keep going further and further and further until you get to Arcane Heart 2 apparently. But someone comes out on top in that interaction, and then you go back to their you hide your power level. Yeah. And then you find out where they are, and then you have a discussion where they're at. If that makes sense. Have you had this experience?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
yeah,
that's good.
No, it's not. Yeah.
it's super funny. Yeah. It's very much like I love doing it personally. I love sussing out like where people are at. Mostly because I'm super confident that I'm deeper than them and I get to play to them. But when I see someone that's like that outmatches me, which has happened a couple times.
I'm gonna sneeze.
Please do it.
Hold on. It's going away.
No, don't tease me like this.
You keep talking.
Yeah. But I love that interaction. But when I find someone, which has only happened a couple times, there's like, oh, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, oh, I'm playing like Action Man on the Game Boy Advance right now. Though that could just be someone nostalgia baiting playing their old childhood game. Though most of the time it's someone who's like, oh, you're like crazier than me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's always fun for me.
That's
you're really taking this hard.
It's
still there?
Yeah.
Man, I'm so sorry for you.
No, it's okay. It's okay. My eyes are watering because of it.
I know you're just getting so emotional. Right now.
I am.
It's like how much gamer cred do I have?
Yeah. Oh goodness.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think the big like halfway point through the onion is if you know what game of the year is.
Yeah, I agree.
think that's the halfway point.
Well, it's kind of crazy when you think about it, right? Because it's like a lot of people watch it. 130 million people watched it, and it's like, wait, there's 7 billion people in the world.
Yeah.
Only 130 million watched it.
It's still awesome that many people are watching it
Yeah.
and like learning about new games and like getting these experiences because of those shows.
Yeah, when
But
you
it's
think
still
about it,
it's
though,
not mainstream. We gotta remember it's not mainstream.
yeah, when you think about it, right? That's 1/700th of the population is that middle onion.
Yeah. So just halfway through the onion. So it's interesting.
So it's a small portion who's in the onion.
Yeah. How far in the onion do you think you are? The gamer onion.
A little bit deeper than Game of the Year, but not quite the center onion.
Okay.
That's I like to think I'm a 3/4 onion.
3/4 of an onion.
Yeah, because the trouble is, if I would love to be a deeper onion, right? It's just a time commitment.
Yeah.
Like I have a wide taste in gaming, and so I'm very happy to play a lot of these like 3/4 onion games, right? All these like little indie games that pop up that maybe take like 5-6 hours. I'm more than happy to play them. I've got a couple friends who we like to play demo games. We played what was it called? Metro Gravity something. It was a really fun like beat style game.
Yeah.
And it was a demo game, and it took like maybe 3 hours to beat the demo, but it was a blast. I really enjoyed it. I think I'll probably buy and play the full version when it comes out.
Yeah.
It was like a beat style like Souls game. It's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
100%.
That's super cool. It
recommend
sounds interesting.
And so I definitely think that's 3/4 onion, maybe a bit deeper.
I mean, Dark Souls is probably like 2/3 at least.
Yeah, Dark Souls.
If you
maybe
played
a
a Dark
2/3,
Souls game, not Elden Ring, but like Dark Souls.
Yeah, especially if you've played like a Dark Souls 1 or something.
Yeah.
Or even if
Dark Souls
you're-
3 was
If you're a
2016.
Demon Souls enjoyer.
All right, well, Demon Souls remake came out after a lot of that. But, anyway, that's and this is where it sounds elitist because you're like, oh, you've only played Dark Souls 3. I've played Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. You think you have the authority to talk about Arcane Heart? I played all 3 in the Japanese arcade booths,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And that's basically what the internet is verbatim on every topic ever.
That is gamer racism.
True.
And
Are we going to stop it? No.
Well, I think you should still be able to measure each other's cred, right?
Yeah.
Like, you still have to establish dominance, but you shouldn't be gamer racist.
Yeah. Like, I think you shouldn't be like,
you peasant.
Pokemon Scarlet. Sorry, we're Emerald enjoyers around here,
Yeah.
So, that sort of thing is where it's like, I think you can just talk to them about like, get on their level. I think that's pretty easy because no one's on the same level.
Yeah.
I would say.
You know what isn't on the same level?
Well, it's not on the same level.
Games from 2023.
I know. Man, there's one particular game in 2023 that was not on the same level as everyone else.
I know, right?
For sure.
Probably one of the best games I've ever played.
Yeah.
Would you like to hear the Game of the Year nominations for 2023?
2023, we're so close. We're so close. It's
So
crazy.
You
I can't believe
had Alan Wake 2, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Marvel Spider-Man 2, okay, Resident Evil 4. Oh, that's a Capcom game that came out recently. Yep.
Remake.
And Super Mario Bros. Wonder. You might be wondering, what are we missing? Baldur's Gate 3.
Big old BG3.
Big old BG3.
BG3. Is it worth talking about the other stuff first? Well, let's hear some of the other games.
That came out?
Yeah. Let's,
sure.
Because I know more stuff came out for sure. But when I think of this discussion of Game of the Year, it's hard to go anywhere that's not straight to Baldur's Gate and the nominees.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got Dead Space, Starfield.
Yeah.
That major disappointment.
That was my biggest disappointment.
Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 6.
Oh.
Diablo 4. Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
Was that a re-release?
That was that's the Xbox game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they shadow dropped that, and it was crazy because it was like they just dropped it.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, 23.
Jedi Survivor, Star Wars Jedi, Armor Core 6.
Yep.
There were a lot of good games. Lies of P, Dredge, Forspoken, Like a Dragon, Ishin, Metroid Prime Remastered, Pikmin 4, Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon. Wasn't that the one where she was complaining she wasn't getting paid enough?
No, that was Bayonetta 3. What you're talking about is a spin-off game where you play as her as a child, and it's not traditional Bayonetta. It's like a puzzle cutesy game.
Okay. Well, I can tell you, I think there were many snubs.
I'm gonna start off with the snub.
Yeah, go
Lies
for it.
of P.
Yeah.
The only reason why, if Lies of P was made by From Software, it would have been a nomination 100%.
Well, it was nominated for a lot of things.
But not Game of the Year.
Not Game of the Year.
Not Game of the Year, though. And the only reason why is because FromSoft didn't have his name attached to it. And we have Spider-Man 2, and I hate to say it, Tears of the Kingdom on this list.
Yeah, I know.
And both of those are nowhere close to at least 5 of the games you listed.
Oh, yeah. Well, so here's... Okay. This might be a hot take. Might be a hot take. I would drop Tears of the Kingdom. I would drop Spider-Man 2. I like Resident Evil 4, so I'd probably say keep that. But I would probably also drop Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
No, I would keep Wonder. I would drop Resident Evil, though. Because it's a remake. You know? And it's a good remake, but Resident Evil 4 was like... It was more of an enhancement than a remake, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because Resident Evil 2 and 3, that's like super clunky games, and when they remade those were like remakes. Resident Evil 4 remake was like it still felt like, because Resident Evil 4 came out on the GameCube and Wii.
That's fair. Okay, you know what? I'll side with you there. Get rid of that too. You know what we put on there instead?
Street Fighter 6.
Street Fighter 6. Why wasn't that there?
Lies of P.
Lies of P. Pikmin 4.
We don't need to put Pikmin 4 on it. Good
Assassin's
Pikmin
Creed
game.
Mirage came out that year too. Oh, and Atomic Heart. That's crazy.
Oh, Atomic Heart. That was the one with the robots.
The Russian robot twins. Yeah.
If you know, you know. So I think that's the only reason why people know about that game.
Yeah, I mean, supposedly it was decent. My brother played it. It's got some great visuals.
I don't know if that's a good. I don't know if that's a good pairing with what we just said.
But definitely Lies of P.
Yeah.
Definitely Street Fighter 6.
Biggest fighting game launch like ever, I believe.
Yeah.
That's not free.
Dredge.
Dredge?
Did Dredge get
I think it got an indie nomination, if I'm not mistaken.
best debut indie game? Yeah, went to Cocoon.
Yeah, I don't know why Cocoon
And
got
not
that one.
Dredge.
Cocoon is a good puzzle game.
Yeah,
But
it's
I'm
not
surprised.
Dredge.
I'm surprised.
Or Viewfinder. Remember Viewfinder? Isn't that the one where you take the pictures and you go through them? Yeah.
What I remember from that, and it's really unfortunate, was like a joke of like, they take the picture and then there was a person like, whoa, that just happened, and they close out the game. And like they just all F4. That's what I remember, unfortunately, for that game. But I don't know. I heard it was good.
Yeah, I watched. Yeah, it looked great.
Some other games that came out. Lethal Company came out in 23. According to my list, I have my list that I made when I was living in the moment in 23.
Best ongoing game went to Cyberpunk 2077. Oh, because they released
Phantom Liberty.
Yep.
So
Apex Legends was nominated. Fortnite. Oh.
The best like ongoing game is like such a weird. That's another game where I feel like Cyberpunk definitely
It deserved it that year.
deserved it that year.
100%.
But I feel like there's games that do more than Cyberpunk does for their game.
It feels weird to give it to like a live service game though, because they're just doing it to farm money.
Yeah.
But okay, I take that back. There are some live service games that deserve it.
Yeah.
Fortnite does not. I'm sorry. They're literally it's live service because they're giving you duplicated skin animations.
It makes it seem like it's a special thing when that's their whole model.
Yeah.
So that's what I don't like about.
Yeah.
Giving
I
live
agree.
service games
but
that.
where you get like Final Fantasy, 14.
So that's an MMO. So that's a little different, but it's also super old, and they're still pumping out like tons of stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Or even the previous year where they did Space Game.
You lost it.
Space Game. No Man's Sky. Yeah, totally deserved.
Sure.
You know?
Big turnaround.
Big turnaround. Same with Cyberpunk 2077. I understand the award. It's just weird that some of these ones are nominated, like Genshin Impact. I guess I can understand that.
It's big name. Was 23 the year that it was Sonic Frontiers versus Genshin Impact on the botting thing, or was that 22?
Might have been 22.
That was probably. I think we talked about it actually. The 2022, an indie game that came out that I believe was not even nominated for best indie game, which I think blows Cocoon out of the water. I would say Dredge right now, but I haven't played much of Dredge. Is Pizza Tower.
Oh, that was nominated
for best indie game?
For best debut indie game.
Yeah, but not best indie game.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think that was one of the best indie games that came out that year, personally. And I think the reason it wasn't on there is because it looked like it was made in MS Paint, which was the art style, but whatever.
Yep. Pizza Tower, made by Tour de Pizza.
It's a great game.
Oh,
if
no,
you haven't played
I've
Pizza
seen
Tower,
it,
it's
yeah.
like, that's good 2D platform. Another game that came out,
Dave the Diver.
Dave the Diver, yep. And one of my personal favorite games of the year, we love Katamari Reroll. I'm a big Katamari fan.
Yep.
So I just love when a Katamari game comes out. I'm like, that's my jam. No shot it's winning anything, which I'm not saying it deserves to because it's Katamari and that's like, it's a game.
Yeah.
So it's not going to get many places.
Oh, we should say, before we keep talking, right? But for people who don't know, Baldur's Gate 3 won Game of the Year.
Yes.
There was a lot of worry that Alan Wake 2 would get it.
Yeah, especially with how many
awards
it was winning.
They won Best Game Direction, Best Narrative, Best Art Direction, like the big ones, right? That usually indicate which one's going to win. Best Audio Design went to Hi-Fi Rush.
Rhythm game.
Yeah, of course it should.
So,
but yeah, the big ones that people usually are like, these indicate what might be Game of the Year is like Best Art Direction, Best Narrative, and Best Game Direction. All went to Alan Wake 2. They just kept going up on stage.
And so you start sweating and you're like, there's no way Alan Wake 2's Game of the Year.
The crazy part is, like, I've now watched most of the game since then. I didn't even know about the game at the Game Awards when I was watching it.
I mean, it was a sleeper.
Yeah, what is Alan Wake 2? And
man, I get so confused sometimes because there's a reason why it got nominated. And I feel it definitely is because it's a good game, but there's a lot of good games.
Yeah.
So like why did Alan Wake 2, which, and I think it comes down to the journalists again, but it got all these awards. And I'm not saying it didn't deserve it because honestly, like I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I'd highly recommend watching. The story's phenomenal. It's best art direction for sure.
And I'm not upset that it won all that
absolutely.
stuff. I'm just like, it's crazy because there's other games like who made Alan Wake 2? Was it
It was published by Sony, but it was Remedy Entertainment.
Yeah, Remedy.
Oh, sorry. It was published by Epic Games.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. So I'm just trying to be like, it got such a big presence, more than I was expecting. And then I put on my tinfoil hat and I'm like, all right, who paid them? Because Eliza P is not on there.
Yeah,
Eliza P's
there's
not on
definitely things where it's like Marvel Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
That being said, I know there was a massive dedicated fan base that adores that game.
Not Spider-Man 2. They like Spider-Man 1.
Well, I remember there was a whole there's
a Spider-Man crew that was rooting for it hardcore.
Oh yeah. Well, it was trending.
Like
Spider-Man 2, the Game Awards or whatever it was trending on X.
Yeah. The Everything app.
Yep, the Everything app. And I was shocked at how many people were just like, I didn't even think it deserved a nomination. But I agree. So many people.
I think there's our onion. There's our onion again. I think people above the halfway line who's like, this is their first time watching the Game Awards and they're like super into Spider-Man, which there's a lot of people. Spider-Man is a global icon.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Sony's best-selling game that year.
Yeah. So, because of Spider-Man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, and it was about as good as Spider-Man 1.
No, it's worse. It's worse. There was more cutscenes than ever.
Well, that's fair, but a lot of people liked the cutscenes in Spider-Man 2, so.
I don't know. I think it was a downgrade.
You're talking about normie gamers, right? You're talking about the reason why we would never want it on that list, but the reason why a lot of people would want it on that list is the reasons we wouldn't want it there.
I guess.
It
did. But the panel is journalists. So then I'm like, what's going on?
Okay, yeah. But
so what's going on?
At the end of the day, right? IGN's given low numbers to Wilds when it gave high numbers to some of the worst games last year. So, I mean, that's your journalists, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I really think it should be a panel of 150 independent journalists instead of these
Yeah.
heavily weighted corporate entities.
Yeah.
Like
I
IGN.
would be very interested to see like what the process is like for them, because like not for like spite or anything, but I just want to know what it's like. Because
Yeah.
what's the actual, if you're a panel member, like what does that look like? Are you just
Oh, I'm sure.
hitting sliders? Is it
I'm sure there's
5
just-
of you from IGN? Is it 1 of you from IGN? Is it all of IGN collectively?
Yeah, I would love to see that. Excuse me, that sort of breakout.
Because then, you know, the more cooks you get in the kitchen, you know, which
Well, yeah,
is
like
fine.
if you do corporate journalists, right? There's going to be a corporate memo or belief in what should win, right?
Yeah. And then, but I will also say, like, I never want it to be 100% player.
Oh,
voice,
yeah, no, absolutely
because
not.
then we get Spider-Man 2 winning, then we get Fortnite up there every
Yep.
year, then we get like it's everything is
absolutely
is out the window.
I
It's
think
like,
I think Alan Wake, no tinfoil hat. I think it deserved quite a few of the awards it got, especially since I learned about it at the Game Awards. I watched some of the gameplay. I've watched reviews on it. And I'm
Lies
like,
of P.
No.
Oh,
Alan Wake too.
I don't know. Why.
I think Lies of P is 100% snubbed.
Yeah.
I think Spider-Man 2 is definitely just because it was Sony's baby child. Spider-Man 2 is like the tinfoil hat of Sony just paid a lot of money to have it up there.
See, but I don't. But then my tinfoil, like the brain under the tinfoil hat, says, why would they pay that much money to get it up there?
Because it's their best-selling game. I don't know.
I don't know.
They want to see it's a prestige thing. Because then they can throw on their store page Game of the Year nominee.
I don't know. I don't buy it.
Because
I don't think they put that much.
Did they sell a Game of the Year edition after 2020?
You don't need to win Game of the Year to win Game of the Year edition.
That's fair.
Everyone makes Game of the Year
You just
editions.
got to win something. So
Someone has to give you an award somewhere, and you can make a Game of the Year edition. So it doesn't matter. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't get this year in particular. I was like, why is Spider-Man 2 on here?
Mm-hmm.
And why is Well, I was confused about Resident Evil 4 remake too. I was like, I don't know. It's good.
Yeah,
it's
no,
good.
it's definitely good.
It's a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never played Resident Evil 4, it's like, oh, this is a great game. It's an amazing game.
I think as far as like Resident Evil goes, I understand it being there. I really wish Lies of P got nominated.
Mm-hmm.
And the one I would have cut for that is Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
Like, you can keep Resident Evil 4. I think it's on par with the other ones I would throw in.
Yeah.
So it's like, whatever. You need that many nominations.
Mm-hmm.
But
let's talk about Baldur's Gate and how I think it was definitely the clear choice.
Yeah, one of the best games of all times. It did not. Oh, I was feeling so worried. So he came dressed in his full suit armor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's sitting there, and they didn't win a single award that he could go up for until Game of the Year.
Didn't the Asterion actor win best performance?
He did.
Okay.
He won best performance,
Yeah.
which worth 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Duh.
Well, I will say, I know
Uh-huh.
I've knocked Final Fantasy 16.
Uh-huh.
The main guy's performance is probably a bit better than Asterion, and I played both.
He was nominated.
He was nominated,
Mhm.
so I'm just gonna say that that'd be my pick personally.
Yeah.
But Asterion's good.
Yes.
Asterion's a good pick.
Yes. 100%. I love Baldur's Gate 3. I think I've talked about I 100%ed it early last year / end of 23 when it came out.
Yeah.
One of the two. One of the best games of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's literally like just D&D in video game form.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
almost 1-to-1.
Yep.
Like you can't go past level 12 because then you get into fiction breaking stuff.
You want to talk about Baldur's Gate drama though? That's just coming out.
In a second, I mean.
Okay, yeah,
like,
we can come back to it. But
it's so like that. I think by definition has to be a game. You know,
it's
it's like
a game.
It's like all game.
Yep,
It's all game.
it's all game.
So that's like, it was awesome to see that win.
Mhm.
It was awesome to see a studio who went out on a limb making like a passion project.
Yeah.
Game of the year, and like just
Mhm.
and not even just getting the game of the year, but they're like just making the product that they did. Like they shouldn't even care about game of the year because what they made was like it's going to be looked at as a generational game.
Yes, 100%.
So, like-
It is a staple of every gamer's library. It should be a staple of every gamer's library.
What made you buy Baldur's Gate 3?
Well, it was a D&D game. Well, and I
Okay.
love Larian because I played Divinity Original Sin 2.
Yeah.
There we go.
You know what got for me? It wasn't on my radar at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got some shorts on it for, and I got ads for it, right?
Yep.
And it was like you see a squirrel on the path,
And then kick the squirrel.
and they rolled it. His like move the squirrel all the way. They
Yep.
rolled a nat 20 and they
Yep.
punted it.
Yep.
And there's literally a cutscene of you punting the squirrel. And I was like, okay, so this is like written by people who play D&D.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, all right, I'm sold.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought that was funny. But what's this drama?
Yeah, Hasbro, who acquired Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh,
Who is really butchering the game.
Not
in
a
its
good
entirety.
Not a good sign.
Well, yeah, they're basically trying to monetize the crap out of D&D, and it's really killing D&D itself.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they saw the success of Baldur's Gate 3, and they're already looking to schedule Baldur's Gate 4. They have asked Larian to do it, and Larian was like, nope, we're going to make more games that we want to make, right?
Good for them.
So, guess who they turned to?
EA.
Yes.
Let's freaking go.
They turned to EA.
Binked that.
Yeah.
Let's go. I mean, they're basically in bed anyway. Like
I know.
EA's got all the brands in their back pocket. Oh.
So be prepared, everyone out there, for Baldur's Gate 4 to be a microtransaction heavy bullcrap game from EA.
Hey, they might let you play more than one class when you buy the base game.
They might
let you do that.
They might let you. They might even let you buy skins, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. Oh, that's so funny. Oh my gosh. Dude, because it's like they're going to try and make Baldur's Gate 3 again.
Uh-huh.
But they're going to look at it at a surface level because what really made Baldur's Gate was like the amount of content and the amount of diverging paths, the depth that each of the characters had, the depths of what you could do in the world and the combat. It's like whatever you wanted to do, you could do for the most part.
Exactly.
And it was executed really well. You can make a million games where you're like, oh, you can do whatever you want. But if the execution isn't there, it literally does not matter. And you know this.
Yeah.
I know this. It's like because we see games claim that all the time.
Yeah.
It's the execution that matters. And they're not going to have the execution. If they prove me wrong, I don't know how much money I'd bet on that.
I don't know the last EA game that I was like, this is it.
Fallen Order was good. Jedi Fallen Order.
Well, Fallen Order was 20...
It was a while ago.
This is a long time ago. Because
Not a long time
Jedi
ago.
Survivor was not it.
No.
Jedi Survivor, you had to pay to have a poncho.
Isn't
which is like the whole thing.
Hold on, I thought It Takes Two, wasn't that working with EA?
Oh yeah, that was published by EA.
Speaking of which,
Split Fiction.
Split Fiction.
Yeah.
Hold on, before we do that, definitively, both of us are saying Baldur's Gate 3 was the right pick.
Oh yeah.
Not even a question, but just in case you were wondering at home. Split Fiction is getting really good reviews, which I'm really happy.
It got a 10 out of 10 by GameRant.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know Eurogamer gave it 5 out of 5, so I mean, we'll see if it's another It Takes Two situation. I am sorry. All right. If it gets nominated, some crazy things, or if it gets nominated for Game of the Year, I think some crazy things would have to happen in the months to come because we already have such a stacked year.
Oh, I know, but it's already got 9 out of 10 on IGN, 91% on Metacritic, 10 out of 10 on GameSpot.
Yeah.
Like, not that I trust IGN, but GameSpot, they usually do a pretty good job.
I'm not arguing that it's not a good game, but I already know I'm gonna see it on the Game of the Year nominees list. And I'm like, what about these 10 other games? Not that. All right. And I'm going to play it.
Yep.
I'm going to play it.
Yep.
And I am ready to be like, nope, this deserves it.
Yep.
This deserves it. No one's done It Takes Two like them.
Yeah.
And they've made another game like It Takes Two, but it's even better.
Well, I do want to say the studio that's doing it, yes, I know it's published by EA, but the studio is Hazelight Studios.
Yes.
They're based out of Sweden.
EA doesn't really have that many fingers in the pie.
Yes.
As other games.
Yep.
But it is technically. You know,
But just like they've only made 4 games, right? And it's
because they're not in the business of making games.
They made Brothers, which wasn't really known, but they made A Way Out, which
that was Hazelight Studios.
Yep. They made A Way Out, then they made It Takes Two, and then they're making Split Fiction.
Yeah.
So this is their bread and butter. They make these like co-op games. They've made 4.
Well, Okay, but we're not counting all the sports games.
Well, that's EA. I'm talking about Hazelight.
Oh, you're talking about Hazelight.
The
Okay.
creators. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. Don't let my pessimistic tone be like I'm not going to enjoy the game. I am going to enjoy the game. What the conversations we've had have been like super super high, like peak. Like I'm pumped for this. Like personally, I think I'm gonna have a better time with Expedition 33, which comes out this month.
That's true. Expedition 33 is coming out.
Yeah, which comes out this month. By the way, there's a new Doom game this year. There's like, we've talked about it, but it's like this year is crazy, and I don't think Split Fiction is gonna hang with the big boys.
Yeah, I forgot. I'm so excited for Expedition 33.
It's the same way. I think if some of those 23 games were moved into 22, they would have swept It Takes Two. Because 22 wasn't exactly a crazy year.
Yeah, no, that's...
So it's nothing against It Takes Two. And do... All right, I would be happy if it did get nominated, but I'd be like, what's going on here? If that makes sense.
I completely agree. Well, we'll see once we play it.
What I think will happen is because It Takes Two, 1 and 22... And the guy's a character. I forget the name of the guy, but the representative or the director of the studio, if that's his role, he's awesome. Love him every time he's on stage and all that. And he's become like a part of this brand deal.
If this game releases, right, no bugs, complete game on launch, that already earns me a lot of points.
Okay.
If this guy is on a media hype train and he's super relatable and is just a dude who plays and makes games, that's big too, right? Like, I will support any smaller studio that's making phenomenal games, even if they're backed by EA.
Yeah.
So
but like, would you say it's going to be the best game of this year?
We'll see. I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna play it with my wife.
Yeah, but in your head, you're thinking like Kingdom Come is going to be better than this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at with it.
So, and I think there's going to be 5 or 6 games where we're going to feel that way. I think
if the story makes me cry, that's a good barrier. That's a good
I think we have less of a. I think that's less likely to happen just because It Takes Two, the story was around a broken family.
Yeah,
I think Split Fiction is around people who are volunteering for a lab experiment. So we're going into their brains, so there's going to be sad stuff.
Yeah, there might be emotional trauma.
There's going to be trauma. We're going into brains.
Yeah, but okay, right now. Right, we got Monster Hunter Wild. We got Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I'm pretty sure Split Fiction is going to get a nomination.
Yeah. New Doom game's
going to get a nomination.
I think Expedition 33 is.
It might.
I've been seeing people have been posting previews.
How many nominations do we get? Is it 6?
I think it's 6. It was 5, I think, for a bit, but I think it's 6 now.
I think so.
You would think we'd know after talking about Game of the Year nominations this much.
Yeah, 6.
Dude, I don't know. There might be 6 games that clear Split Fiction.
There might be, but right now,
that's
March? My 6. And we're in March.
It's March.
We're just finishing Q1, baby. And
I know.
We've got 6 games that we're like, these are going to be the nominees.
And there's always a sleeper pick, and there's always crazy stuff.
But right now, these feel pretty solid.
I think so.
Unless...
and not only that... Nintendo's doing their showcase in early April.
That's true. They could totally just shadow drop some. That'd be crazy. Like Mario Kart 8 could just actually drop this year.
Yeah. Mario Kart 8 again.
Yeah. Oh. Oops. Mario Kart 9.
Yeah.
My bad.
No.
Might actually drop this year.
Yeah, but I don't think Mario Kart's ever going to get a nomination. But
not unless
I'm seeing like they're going to drop some system sellers this year that we don't know about yet.
Yep.
So I think we got all of these nominees, and then Nintendo's throwing their hat in the ring.
Yep.
It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be a bloodbath.
It's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be awesome for us.
I know.
Not good for my wallet.
Well, yeah.
But, it's like, it'll be great.
I know.
I'm excited.
This is, honestly, great year so far.
Yeah. And I know this has kind of been the theme the past couple episodes,
yeah.
But it's like, I don't know how else to say it. It's like, we're eating good.
Yeah. Every single week something drops, and I'm like, this is it.
Munch, munch, munch.
Exactly.
And then I gotta be like, man, I gotta get to Kingdom Come Deliverance at some point.
Yeah.
I gotta get to see, and it's tough because I'm gonna play Monster Hunter, and then Expedition 33 is gonna come out, and then something else is gonna
Yeah,
happen.
and I want to play I want to play through Monster Hunter before the end of the year at
Yeah.
least, and I'm gonna play Expedition 33 because it's right up my alley. A turn-based RPG, that's my jam.
Like this year, I think I want to really try and play every single Game of the Year nominee. It's hard to do that when you don't know the list
yeah,
yet.
you don't know.
So you can only really hit like, I'm pretty sure this is going to be nominated. I'm pretty sure this is going to be nominated. But I think that'd be good just to have a cohesive...
be able to genuinely say I've played all these games and this is the one I think deserves it.
Because like I haven't played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth yet. So we're talking about like when we talk about 24, I'm not going to have my definitive answer. Like I have my answer right now.
Yep.
But I'm going to play Rebirth at some point. And the people I know that have played Rebirth, it's their game of the year.
Yeah.
For 24. Even though other games came out that we're not going to talk about because that's for next episode.
Yep.
But I want to just have everything just on the plate and be like, these are the winners.
Oh, I completely agree. Because we are the authority on this topic.
And even when we don't play the games, we know what the correct answer is.
Absolutely.
So, and the correct answer for you right now is to like, follow, and subscribe. Hit the bell. Follow us on everything.
Everything.
The Everything app.
TikTok, Instagram. We don't have a Twitter yet.
No,
but...
that's okay. That's okay. How can it be the Everything app if we're not on it?
You're right.
Anyway, you guys all have a great day. We're super excited, super pumped to be experiencing this year of gaming.
Absolutely.
With you guys. So, and we didn't even talk about movies.
I know.
The Oscars just happened.
I know. We got stuff to talk about that later too.
I personally don't give a crap, but we can talk about it.
Yep.
We can talk about why I don't care.
That's
but,
fair.
Whatever. That's for next time. Stay tuned. We'll talk about it. Have a great day.
Peace.